Hey everybody, I hope you guys are doing okay. It's been a while since I posted any videos on this channel. There's a really good reason for that, and I'll let you know that in a second. But this video is really more for people from Silver City, New Mexico, and especially the Silver High School class of 1988. The other day I was going through a bunch of old videos and I ran across some footage that I took of our 10-year high school reunion that was held over at the golf course. And I was watching the faces and looking at everybody, and I realized how much we've changed and how much we've been through. But what also struck me was how many people in the video are no longer with us. And I realized, man, we are not getting any younger. And I thought it would be a shame not to share this with my fellow classmates, even if you're not class of 1988, but you were one of the classes higher than ours or lower than ours. You might recognize people from high school and junior high and all that. So I thought I'd show this, and I will show some photographs of the 20-year reunion and the 30-year reunion that I attended as well. And so I'll do that, and also I'll show some old footage of Silver City that I took decades ago, and a little bit of downtown, and also some pictures from back then. But I'm going to put those things as well as the footage from our reunions at the end of the video, because a lot of people that watch this channel, they are not interested in that. They're not going to know who anybody is, so it's going to be rather boring. But before I get started on that, I was just going to let you know a little bit about some things just of note from Silver City and also from my life, and kind of let you know where I'm at and kind of what is going on. So first of all, I've been living Prescott, Arizona for, it's going to be almost 30 years of time in Yavapai County. I live here. I love it. And I used to live in Prescott. Then I lived in Prescott Valley. And I thought those areas were growing a little bit too much. So I ended up moving north. I bought a lot of acreage on the north side of the Prescott National Forest. And so when I go grocery shopping, I can either go to Prescott, Flagstaff, Kingman. And a lot of times my wife and I, when we want to get away for a really quick trip, we can run over to Laughlin, Nevada, which is only an hour and a half drive, and then or Las Vegas, Nevada, we can end up there in just a little over 2-hour drive. So we live in a really cool area here where we can access a lot, and many of friends and relatives from around the country who come to see the Grand Canyon, we can be over there. And I think from my doorstep, it's an hour and 45 minutes to the rim, to the national park. So that's where we're at. The other thing, I guess, just kind of letting you guys know, I've had an interesting span of different types of career things going on. It's kind of hard to describe. Right after graduation, I joined the Army. So I was in the Army. I got stationed in Germany. I was there before, during, and after the fall of the Berlin Wall. I didn't end up in Desert Storm because that was ramping up as soon as I got back to Silver City. But several of our classmates, like Steve Hunt and Ernest Aguilera, they were in Desert Storm, and there was a few others. And we have some other military veterans in our class as well. And I keep up with a couple of them, such as Chandra Toy and also Cameron Clark. Hey, Cameron, and Chandra. But I was in the Army. I got out of the Army. I got back to Silver City and ended up, I moved back in with my parents. And of course, my dad, he treated me like a kid right up till the day I left to go in the Army. And then when I got back from the Army and doing all that stuff, he still treated me like a kid. So that lasted 3 days. And one of my best friends, Mauro Diaz, he showed up and helped me load up all my stuff, and I didn't know where to go. So I ended up moving in with some friends of mine. I used to do yard work for them. I used to have a yard business all around Silver City. I'd mow lawns for all kinds of people. If you guys are from Silver City, you know a lot of these people that I used to mow their lawns and pull weeds and everything like that. But one of them was Lona May and Bob Mathis, and they own Mathis and Mathis Mining Company. And so when I was kind of homeless, because I was like, I can't deal with this being treated like a kid anymore. And of course, I don't blame them for that, because it's hard for, now that I'm older, it's hard for a parent to shift gears, to be honest with you. But I moved in with Bob and Lona Mae Mathis on Santa Rita Street in Silver City, just off of downtown. And we lived in that big white brick house, and she let me stay in a room down in the basement. It used to be her son Bobby Mathis's recording studio, and so that was one of the coolest bedrooms ever, because my bedroom was a recording studio, and there was a drum room and all these special lights, and the walls were lined with sand, and the door was really heavy, and it was all soundproof. It was really cool. So I lived down there for a little while, and then anyway, I ended up leaving Silver City and moving over to Prescott, and I lived just off of the downtown Courthouse Square, Prescott, back decades ago, and that was really cool. It was back when Prescott was much smaller. And in the meanwhile, back when I was a senior in high school, my dad started a tool company in Silver City, and we were living halfway between Silver City and PA. So on the PA road, there's some buildings on the right when you go up the road. That's where my dad started this extremely successful tool manufacturing company that specialized in metal bending equipment and things like that. And before my dad had success with that, we actually didn't have a lot of money. In fact, most of my life we were extremely poor. And so when he invented some of those benders, that really took off, and it caused a real change in things in the family. And so one of the things that he did, when I was in the Army, one of the first things he did is when they started becoming successful, he knew that my mom struggled working in the business all of those decades before and just kind of slaving away. And so one of the first things he did is he bought her a Cadillac. And here's a picture of her with the Cadillac, and this is at her place on the PA road. And then after that, his business grew so much that he bought a really big ranch up in Wyoming that had 1.5 miles of river on it, and that was amazing. It was like life-changing. He became successful. And so he was going to move his company up to Laramie, Wyoming, but he couldn't move it quickly because it had grown enough that it's going to take a while to move it. So he called me when I was living in Prescott, and he said, "Do you want to live up on the ranch rent-free for a year until they get up there?" And I said, "Sure." So I left Prescott. I moved up to Wyoming, managed the Wyoming side of the business until they could get everything transferred. And I also met my wife up there in Laramie. My wife was from Laramie, and she and I have been married over 30 years now. But yeah, you can, Wyoming women, they're quality. So anyway, my dad's company continued to be successful, and then another Silver High graduate is my younger brother, Jason. And my younger brother, after graduating Arizona State University, mechanical engineering, he started a company called PlasmaCam, and he ended up being extremely successful. I mean, his company has done very well, and so my dad's was a huge success, and then my brother took it to a completely different level. And so that's an interesting factoid from Silver High Schools. We do have some people that just went out and made tons of money. But for me, money wasn't everything. A lot of times, I had a choice between should I really focus on making the money, or should I focus on my family? And a lot of times I dropped work at the expense of my businesses to spend time with my kids. After I got married to my wife in Wyoming, we moved over to Cheyenne because we kind of wanted to get away from the parents, because both the parents, they like to be parents. And so we're over there, and I found that Wyoming was extremely depressing. And I was taking a lot of trips down to SilverCity, and I just was reminded that the weather is better in other places. So there was a point when I just reached kind of a breaking point, and I said, I have to move back south. I just can't stand Wyoming. It's beautiful 3 months of the year, but the wind blows so continuously that when it does stop blowing, everyone just falls over because they were leaning. But anyway, we left Wyoming and we moved down to Prescott, and we've been basically in Yavapai County ever since, and most of our kids were born here. So just a couple other things of note. When I lived over here, I ended up working for a defense contractor, and that was an interesting story on how that happened. But I ended up designing and building autonomous robotic devices for the military and the aerospace industry, and ended up being very successful there. But I was working over at the Yuma Proving Ground so often, testing things, that I was away from home a lot. And we had 4 small children, and I just got to the point where I was really successful in being paid very well, and I just walked away from it and took a chance. So then I started a software company, and we still have that to this day. We've had our software company 23 years now. It's slowed down quite a bit in the last couple of years, and then of course AI has shaken up everything. It's completely changed the world, so I'm having to adjust to that. But just on a personal note, I would say that life has been very hard at times. I've got a lot of good memories, but just to cut to the chase, I've had 6 children. I've had 4 of my 6 children die. 2 were babies, and 2 were military. And so that's been really hard. So sometimes, you do the best you can in life, and then life knocks you down. And then when you're down, life just continues to kick you. So that's kind of something that has been defining me lately. And I don't want it to define me, but, when you lose your kids, it's very damaging. And there's people who haven't had that happen, and they think, oh, you can get some help and you'll be fixed. But to be honest with you guys, when you have something like that's so traumatic happen, but you have it happen repeatedly, you become very damaged. So you're kind of working from a little bit of a weaker spot, because there are people that say these things make you stronger. I would disagree with that on certain points. I'd say that, yeah, I would say no. But, on top of that, one of the other things I was going to mention that's related to SilverCity was our classmate, Mauro Diaz. Me, Peter Dalberdine, and Mauro Diaz were really close. And in high school as well as after high school, we did a lot of things together. We always kept in touch. We always did things. And Peter and Mauro were in my wedding. And and I still go to Silver City, and I still hang out with Peter and stay with him and everything. But it was a couple of years ago that Peter called me and Peter seemed pretty upset, and I'd never heard Peter sound like this before, but he let me know that our classmate, Mauro Diaz, was killed in a head-on car collision along with his youngest son, Mateo. And that started changing me even more, because by the time Mauro was killed, I had already lost 3 children. And for some reason I started getting numb, because Mauro was one of them that, even though after graduation we lived in Silver City, then we left Silver City, we always kept up with each other, and Mauro ended up working or living in Wyoming because of me. When I was up there, and I was getting married to my wife Michelle, I called Peter and Mauro and asked them if they could be in my wedding, and Mauro came up and was in the wedding, and he liked Wyoming. He just thought, it'd be cool if he had a change in his life and he could move. So my dad ended up giving Mauro a job, and Mauro ended up living in Wyoming, and he ended up meeting the love of his life. She was going to college at the University of Wyoming, and so they got married. Mauro and Angela got married. So Mauro and I both married Wyoming girls, and we're both from Silver City. And one of the things about Mauro is he always tried to live life to its fullest and really explore and understand how people think and different cultures and things like that. And I know that he, after he got married, he went and taught math and science in the Bronx in New York City. And he used to call me and tell me about it. But one of the things that really struck me about what he said to me one time is he said, no matter where I go in this world and no matter who I'm around, he said, talking to me reminds him of who he is and where he comes from. And I thought, that's really cool, because that's what we did with each other. When I talked to Peter, I talked to Mauro. Peter used to send me mixtapes when I was in the Army. I'd get these packages, and it'd be a cassette tape, and it'd be Rush and Van Halen and all these, but Peter was all about Rush, But it was weird, because so you got this childhood friend, and you keep up with him all of the time. We're talking all of the time. We compare notes. And I remember us just even as teenagers, or even when I got back from the Army, we'd lay up on the rocks by Ben Lilly Lookout and look at the stars, because you get up there and there's no lights. And we just look at the stars and we talk about what we're going to do when we get old, how many kids we're going to have. We used to talk about all our hopes and dreams and everything. And for me to find out Mauro was killed in a car accident really shook me up bad, and it got me. It made some kind of a change in me, and it caused me to not fear anything anymore. I just all of a sudden lost my fear of death, and I can't explain what in the world happened. But when Peter and I flew up to Mauro's funeral, we went through one of the worst storms I'd ever been through. I thought our plane was going to crash. Peter said, so I flew out of Vegas, and we were going across the Rocky Mountains to land in Denver. Peter and I were going to take a rental car up to Casper. Peter flew out of El Paso, and that was one of the nastiest storms we were in, and our plane was getting thrown around violently, and I just sat there perfectly calm. I just was numb. I just sat there like, I didn't either want the plane to go down or whatever. I just had no fear. I had zero fear. But this woman next to me, she was gripping my wrist to the point it was almost turning purple. And I just sat there just at complete peace and calm. And I don't know what in the world it was that snapped. But anyway, Peter and I, we went up there to Mauro's funeral. And then, of course, Mauro's cousin, Jose Martinez. I saw him after many years, and it was nice seeing Jose. And we were up there, and I felt so bad for Mauro's wife Angela and their 2 boys. Jack and Diego, but currently right now Jack and Diego are in college, and my wife talks with Angela, so we still keep in touch. But that really shook me. And so there's even though we're out and about, there's a lot of SilverCity connection. There's a lot of weird small world type stuff going on. And then of course, I lost 2 kids, military kids. My oldest boy was Afghanistan and PTSD and all that stuff. And my daughter, man, it was just like, I don't even know how to explain this, but my daughter died a little less than 2 years ago, and that one really shook us severely. But here we are, and we're doing okay. And then one other weird SilverCity thing that I was just going to mention to you was, I know some of you guys aren't Christian and you're not this or that, and I'm not going to get off on that. But what I'm going to say to you is this. When I was in SilverCity, we went to Indian Hills Baptist Church, and my parents, when I got back from the Army, my parents were going to First Baptist Church, and the pastor was Pastor Jesse Lyles. And I just want to tell you this because this is kind of an interesting thing. So I went to a few services over there with them. Jesse was my parents, my brothers, and even my grandparents who lived out on Rosedale Road. My grandparents went to First Baptist Church, and so when my wife and I were living years later, and we had our kids, and we were living in Prescott Valley, Arizona. And we were going to a church there, and something happened at the church, and it was really terrible. And I just felt like, I'm not going to get into it, but I just want to let you know, I said to my wife, I said, I'm never going back to church again. I don't trust any pastor ever again. And my wife's like, she didn't want to hear that. She's not a church fanatic, radical or anything, but she realizes the importance of fellowship, with fellow Christians. And I just said, I'm never going back. It's nothing is going to make me. Nothing's going to get me back. And so my wife, she's like, took the kids to a different church. She took the kids to Willow Hills Baptist Church in Prescott, Arizona. They did not have a pastor. She just took them for a few weeks, and they were doing a pastor search, and how do you explain this? I said I'd never go back to church, and the person who became pastor of Willow Hills Baptist Church in Prescott, Arizona, is Jesse Lyles. So I ended up going back to church. It was like immediate. Did not see that one coming at all. So I ended up going back to church. But more so, the importance for me was, and Jesse Lyles, if you're watching, I can understand if you're watching. But I wanted to say that when I was working for the defense contractor, I sometimes would call up Jesse or whatever, and we would go have lunch together. And I don't know how many times we had lunch together, but we just sit and talk or visit or whatever. And here's a guy from SilverCity, and he's from SilverCity, and it was kind of like that thing Motto was saying, just kind of reminding of where you come from and other things. And so, I mean, just what are the chances of that? Jesse had no idea I was even over there. So here I declared, I said, I will never trust another pastor again, and I will never go to church again. And so here, the one person who was sent that I'd still trusted. So enough about that. All right, guys. I'm about to get into the footage of the reunion. I just wanted to kind of take you back to 1980, the 1980s. I remember some amazing memories of just downtown. I remember high school was, high school was one thing, and I remember, especially when you look at kids nowadays in school, things were way different for us than they are for the kids now. I mean, there was a certain amount of discipline that was maintained in our classes, but we still seemed to, within the framework we had, we still seemed to have some fun. Not every memory that we have was good, but overall, we kind of lived in sort of a wholesome time. And even on weekends, or I remember cruising downtown in Bullard Street, and you just see all the cars passing by, and it's always teenagers just piled in, and we're just driving around and go to Sonic and hang out and various other things. And I just remember that, and the parades, like mining, I think it was mining days, and Johnny Banks being, you guys remember Johnny Banks? Remember him? And downtown was a lot different back then. In fact, I got some footage of it closer to when we were in high school. And I remember that downtown compared to now. Now it seems a little more touristy and almost dead. Like, kind of like you can go downtown, but if it's a certain wrong hours or whatever, everything's closed. And so when we were kids, downtown Silver City was very vibrant, and there was a lot of stores we needed to go to that were downtown, like stationery. There was even a car dealership down there, I remember. And there was, when we get our high school uniforms, I thought was it Colby's or whatever. We get our, they had the Letterman jackets and the sports uniforms and all kind of stuff, and yeah, I just remember it was a cool place, and what's interesting about it is, the courthouse in Prescott here really reminds me of the movie Back to the Future. But what's interesting is how even in Silver City, it just, I think back to that, and I think of the music, and I think of all of that, and it just seems like this cozy thing in time. I know my mind is probably embellishing that a little bit, but it does seem like that. And I do have memories of watching the movie Back to the Future when it came out at the Gila Theater, and I was standing in line with Mauro Diaz and Peter Dalberdine and Chris Peters. You guys remember him? Rest in peace, Chris. He is a classmate of ours, and a whole bunch of us. We're there. We're all excited to see Back to the Future, and now here we are. Just think about that movie. It's like it was a story about what it's like to go back in time, and also later to go forward in time. And so here we are with my video here going back in time. It looks like I've been rambling on forever here. So anyway, I will let you guys go. If you are from Silver City, or you're from the class of 1988 or anywhere around that, please drop a comment of your memories. And all right, let's get going.
stand anyone too long. Hi, Lee. Hello. How you doing? This is Matt Bell. Yeah. There we are. I'm annoying everyone now. Yeah.
What's up, man?
Put that away. There we go.
Hey, you want to speak it?
Requirement. Okay, I know you from somewhere.
No, you don't. From somewhere.
Yes.
Your reputation precedes you.
It does.
I know. You better watch out.
I know. I always think asking you that glasses clearly here. I always think it's exactly. I always think asking you, but I always think. Hey, wait, hey. Say hi. Hey, there. How you doing? Peter! How you doing? Frank Taylor. Hey, Sean Bewley, what's up, man?
Well, that's all that works good.
But you know what? This is great because a lot of the assholes from high school are really nice people now. Of course.
So great to meet you. It's my car back since 6. Still the left of the ground.
No, it's Jack and Kobe, like Jack and us.
Jack and a splash, huh?
Jack and us.
Yeah, so we're taking a video.
Who's this guy with a camera?
I'm annoying everybody. What's going on? Hey, hold that. Hold that. How you doing, man? What's going on? Don't you guys drink? My two favorite chicks from high school. My two favorite chicks from high school, huh? Hello. Prison bar.
That's my advice to you.
Okay. Victor. Yep. Alles Gutes.
How nice can you? Yeah, gotta give me advice.
Say hi.
Man, this sounds strange.
Oh, get the camcorder.
Hi. Johnny, what are you doing? Johnny. Johnny. Down next.